3. Welcome back for this another Around the Ropes YouTube exclusive. And guys, we are continuing the Dynasty week. And guys, it has been a fun week of talking to a lot of the people, both behind the camera, the photographer, the wrestlers, you name it. But guys, we are now talking to, I guess you can call them now the One Man Commentary team. After what
I've
the
been
news
called worse. Yeah, that's fine.
The one, the only, Jonny Patches returns to the show. How you doing tonight?
That intro is a banger. That's a certified banger. Right up there with like Return of the Mac, banger.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I when I put that together, it was very. Once I saw it, I'm like, yeah, this is going to become a good one. This is going to become because it gets you going.
Yeah, like I'm grooving to it. I'm like, oh man, like it went high and then it just went higher.
But I think there's a wrestling show on Saturday up in Waterville, New York.
I think I'm supposed to be there. I'm going to show up in Waterville anyhow and see what happens.
I don't know. I hope they're able to brace for the impact.
I don't know. After those earthquakes, when it was first announced, maybe we're going to have our aftershocks. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be much like the intro to this show, a banger.
And before we get to what's happening this weekend, I want to just go briefly back to the February show.
Yeah, I've drank a lot since then, so you're going to have to give me a second to remember what happened. But go ahead.
I know it garnered some public attention for obvious reasons. We all know the reasons why it garnered some interest and attention. But taking that out of the equation, overall, how did you think about that? The last show, the one it was all a dream.
Oh, I loved it. Every Dynasty show that I've been to, whether as a fan or on commentary, has upped the show before that. So showing up to this show and, seeing Alex Odin, who my first time meeting him, my first time seeing him work in the ring was absolutely phenomenal. Conway, and again, thrilled every time he's on the card. Loved seeing him there. The show was fantastic. Starting off with Black and Yellow versus Aryan and Black Rose. Like, that's how you want to get the show started. That crowd was hot from the opening bell until the end of the night. They got their money's worth, regardless of what you think about the special guests that evening.
And I said this for a few interviews. I said this even after the show. There was 300 people in that building. As I call it now, I'm coining it now the Dynasty Arena. I'm not calling it Empire Live anymore. I'm calling it the Dynasty Arena.
Sold.
I said that to Chris in the interview I did with him, and he goes, I like that. I like that name. I'm like, want to use it? Go right ahead. I don't have ownership of that.
Let me just copyright that now.
But you could have well felt like there's 1,000 people in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That place was rocking all night. Black and Yellow kicking that show off was the best way to do it. They put on an amazing match, and then from beginning to end, it was a fun night. Little bit of chaos, whole lot of fun.
A little bit of chaos. Isn't that basically what Dynasty is known for?
At times, I think I had like 4 different commentary partners. Like Envy was on commentary with me, and he didn't plan on being on commentary. But hey, there's no script when I show up at the building, so anything can happen. Maybe I'll drag you onto commentary with me this weekend.
Hey, I'll be there, and believe me, all you gotta do is look for the guy with the big head in the room and be like, I just do like one of these. Come here.
Yeah, but you're like short. Like, I'm look over you. It's nothing personal. It's just an offensive line. It's like you're Doug Flutie to the offensive line. Like, you'll need to find me.
I have been told numerous amount of times I've been compared to an Oompa Loompa, so I've heard these short jokes before.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I was actually wanting to get into that because your former partner there, and I guess we can call her your former partner there now for
Yeah,
commentary.
I found out this morning as well. So
Caused a little bit of a stir up at the last show when Taylor decided to cause some issues, and Miss DeVille kind of had enough of the bullshit, to put it nicely.
yeah, that's really the best way to put it. The Taylor was running roughshod. The women's division was absolute anarchy, and it just needed, maybe a woman's touch to keep everything in order. And Kristen, former competitor, now retired from in-ring competition, but I think she can keep those girls in line. And now it seems that the Diamonds division has doubled in size since she took over as general manager. So that's great for business.
Oh, I remember when she came into the ring, and now I was where I was in that night. I was in the back by like the bar area,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just listening to her promo, and you can hear like I said before, being tired of the bullshit. You can hear it in her voice.
Right. You can't let the inmates run the asylum.
No.
And if someone's going to lay down the law, it's going to be Kristen.
So
Good for her. Now that she's the commissioner of the women's division, I'll have to use a little bit of nepotism and get a raise in future Dynasty events.
Hey, just be glad. If you piss her off, she might have to wear a dress.
Oh no. Like I don't have the thighs for it, and I'm definitely not shaving my legs.
But yeah, I think you had not only Chris on for commentary, but you also had, I think, Billy on.
Yeah, who to my understanding will be sitting in at some points during this Saturday's Brace for Impact show. So,
yeah, I kind of heard that one too on the Facebook post.
Yeah, I could work with anyone. Like I told you before, like I carried Dan Peruzzi for months at TIW, so I can do interviews with anybody.
But hey, you never know. Could become the John takeover. You never know.
It could be John A and John B. If she would be accurate, because you are John B and I'm P, but I'm gonna be Alpha. So that makes sense.
Well, also makes more sense for you to be Alpha. You're taller than I am,
and I'm older too. So
yeah,
Johnny aged.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: you're more toward. Actually, I'm just gonna say it now, and I'm not. And this is not meant to be mean at all. You're more towards the end of your career than the start.
I'm more to the end of my life than the start, so it's understandable.
I wanted to be nice and said career.
It's like when you go to the doctor, like, you're closer to 50 than you are 30. And I'm like, no, I'm not. You're lying to me. Like, oh, yeah, I am. I'm like, what happened to the last 10 years of my life? What did I do?
Well, that's like, I laugh when people look at me. They're like, oh, you're not young anymore. I'm like, I'm 31. They're like, and it's funny. Like, I talk to people now who are born like the year 2000, and I look at them. I'm like, okay, I'll just put it this way out there, and then we'll get into what's going on.
What the hell did you do to your hand?
Oh shit!
I don't.
Okay.
You know what? Better yet, I don't want to know what you've done to your hand.
No, I can tell you what happened.
Nope. Whatever you say is going to be a lie.
No, I can show you. I was playing with this pen.
Yeah, and that's what you get.
And the pen just exploded on it.
Yeah, you're living that Oompa Loompa lifestyle now. Turning your skin blue.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to turn into a bluey now. Apparently.
Yeah, if you got to go all in.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm not going to touch that pen anymore. Because every time I touch that pen, this is what happens.
You would have gotten rid of the pen by now, you would think.
It's me we're talking about.
That's fair.
I'm a wrestling fan. I'm somewhat, cuckoo in the head.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Thanks. But no, I mean, looking at what came out of the last show, I mean, to me, I think one of the biggest moments for me was Brother Jonas getting the win.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere. If I was a betting man, I would have definitely lost the farm on that. I was expecting to see a dead body when Wrecking Ball Legursky murdered him. But you know what? Anything can happen. That was maybe one of the biggest upsets in the history of the dynasty. And you don't know what's going to happen. And that's the best part about it.
And that's the one thing I have stressed in all the interviews. I can't even use this hand now because all I see is the freaking. Okay, so I'm going to use this hand now.
Well, that hand's no better. Well, it's a little bit better.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. But again, a lot of soap will help, hopefully. Yeah, it's not going to be fun walking into to the show on Saturday, go and shaking everybody's hand, and they look at me and go, "What disease do you have?
What did you do?"
I'll just turn around to them and go back to the Jonny Patches interview. You'll see why.
And that draws more ratings to the YouTube. I see what you're doing. That's marketing 101.
I might have a big head, but I do use it. But like I was saying before, and I said this in the previous interviews I've done, with this whole week, because of the fact Dynasty is not live streamed on Fight TV or IWTV. Let me rephrase that. They're not live streamed as of now. That could change in the future, but as of now, they're not live streamed. So the only way you get to experience a Dynasty show or the Dynasty, you have to be there live. There's no other way to put it.
And I've always said it, and I'll die on that hill. Go to your indie shows. I have had more fun at indie shows as a fan or as a promoter or working there than I ever did on a big company show. It's fun. It is the most fun that you will have at a wrestling event.
Or you do what I do and you drive 3-4 hours to a show to go have some fun.
Yeah.
Or even more.
What else are you going to do that weekend? Sit home? Watch a movie?
Oh, don't even get me started with movies, because I've had friends of mine who will turn around to me and name me some classic movies. And I look at them and I go, nope, never seen it.
It'll happen. But you're a wrestling fan and you've seen every WrestleMania at least 3 times, I'm sure. They can't say that.
Funny thing is, I had, one of my former managers come up to me this past week and he looks at me and goes, Sean, you're the wrestling guy here. I go, thank you for noticing. And
there's worse things to be known as.
Yeah. And he goes, I have a picture. I want you to see if you can guess who the guy is. Shows you the picture. Within 2 seconds, I'm like, oh, it's Captain Lou Albano.
Right.
And he goes, you're much better at this than they are. I'm like, why? Who'd they think it was? He goes, oh, they thought it was Mick Foley.
Disgraced.
But I'm sure. I sat there going, okay, next time anybody has a wrestling question, come to the guy who, yes, I don't get paid for this, but come to the guy who watches this stuff and covers this weekly for the show.
I know one thing, and that's pro wrestling. Come to me, and if I don't know, then it's a lie.
Or I can lead you to the right people.
Right.
But I want to look at this card because, this card from top to bottom is stacked.
It is going to be a banger.
And first match I want to look at, I actually have the graphic for it right here.
I'm also pulling up. Oh, I don't need to pull it up. You're doing it for me.
Professional.
Minus your hands.
Yeah, I don't. We got Wayno making his return for the first time since Capital Gains as he takes on Black Rose. And folks, again, that's Roze, not Rose.
Yeah, that's an incorrect graphic. And the Dynasty graphic guy may end up having a boot to the side of the head if they don't get their act straight. I don't blame him.
The funny
Put some
thing
respect
is,
on his name.
I totally agree on that. I had on the photographer Jason Sapardi on here, I think, or earlier this week, and we were fantasy booking a segment where you can have Black Rose teaching Chris Envy how to spell his name. To the point that Jason had it that Chris was tied to a chair. And I was like, well, there is a teacher who happens to work behind the scenes who could be the teacher of that segment, if you get where I'm going with this.
Well, the running gag would be he has autocorrect on. so he can never get it right because the autocorrect keeps wanting to fix it. So it's completely beyond his control.
But no, but I just had Wayno on, and I said this in the previous interview, and I'm going to say this again. My biggest fear for him going into this match is he's fixated not on Black Rose.
Right. He is too distracted with Mr. Man and Mrs. Man and everything going on between, that dysfunctional family. And Black Rose is dangerous. Black Rose will take his head off his shoulders in no time flat. And I love Wayno. Wayno is super fun. I worked with Wayno for many years now, but I've also worked with Black Rose. And one of those two has a real bad attitude as of late because they feel like they've been overlooked and they've been denied. And what are you going to do? You're going to prove a point. And unfortunately, Wayno might be the victim of Black Rose's point that he's looking to prove.
And that's my whole thing is you look at Wayno, and I even said this to him in the interview. I'm like, how are you going to be able to stop yourself? Because he even said in the interview, he goes, well, I'm going to have a picture of Brandon Smith on Black Rose's face, and I'm sitting there and I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm sitting there going, dude, Brandon Smith isn't your opponent on Saturday.
No, and they're nothing alike. Brandon Smith is a hoss. He's a big, burly Texas boy, and he's going to hit you with forearms that feel like you got hit by a billy club. Black Rose is fast, accurate, and deadly with every punch he throws, with every spear he throws. It's like a dart. He's moving so fast all the time. You can't even compare the two. Brandon Smith is nowhere near as fast as Black Rose, and if Wayno's expecting a slower prodding match, he's not going to get it. He's going to get blown up by Black Rose.
And I think the problem is the fact that he's so fixated, because he's like, he even said, he goes, well, when I get past Black Rose, because he even laid out the challenge on the interview that he wants Brandon Smith again in the ring, one-on-one, and he goes, well, it's not going to be a match, it's going to be a fight. And I'm like, dude, you got to realize what you're dealing with here. There's going to be, we don't know when Chris MV is going to bring back the titles into the picture.
Right.
We know it's coming soon.
Much sooner than later.
Yeah. You don't want to be in the position where all of a sudden you're so fixated on one person that you don't go into pro wrestling. And again, I'm not speaking for somebody who's a pro wrestler, because believe me, I'm the biggest klutz imaginable. You don't become a pro wrestler because you want to go beat one person up.
No. If you want to go fight someone, go meet them out in the back of a Waffle House parking lot. And settle it the old-fashioned way.
Exactly. And I think the problem is he's so fixated on him. It's like he's not, I feel like he's going to almost let that get to him in the long run.
And if he doesn't get his head on straight, it's going to get knocked on straight.
And I think that's going to be his issue.
He's been around for a long time. He knows what he's gotten into. And if he's going to get distracted, then he definitely needs to reevaluate his in-ring career and not let Mr. Man, Mrs. Man, Brandon Smith dictate what he's doing. It's going to cost him opportunities and championships.
And I even said it to him, because he said, he was like, well, I want to take Brandon Smith out of Dynasty. I'm like, that's all well and good, but you have a bigger issue here. I'm like, your issue isn't with Brandon. I'm like, Brandon, it's vicariously, but your issue is more with Mr. Man.
Right. Brandon Smith is Mr. Man's catalyst.
And that's my thing. I said, I think in essence, for you to get the monkey off your back, it's not Brandon. Yes, Brandon Smith is part of the monkey you have to get off your back, but it's not the full monkey.
Right. But Mr. Man lasts 2 seconds against Wayno, so he needs to finish off Brandon Smith in order to get to the prize. And then maybe he'll be able to move on.
And I made the comparison to, I don't know if you remember a number of years ago when Paul Heyman first turned on CM Punk. And I think he was the manager for Ryback. I think it was either Ryback or Curtis Axel. I don't remember which one it was.
Curtis Axel, he did manage for a while.
And the stipulation was if he got past them, then he would be in the ring with Paul Heyman for 15 minutes.
That's
what
Wayno needs to do.
But I think the problem is, I don't think you have to focus on that. I think the thing is, if you're somebody like Wayno who hasn't, the Dynasty fan base has not seen Wayno since October.
Correct.
I think you don't focus on the guy who you fought in October in April.
Right. If you're looking at it by months, but if you're looking at it by shows, it's far less. So the sting and the memory when you're, putting on 6 shows a year, that time frame, that crunch between events, it stirs and it festers. So that animosity he has with Mr. Man and Brandon Smith, that's been festering since, like you said, since October.
And the thing is also, Brandon Smith, it's not like Brandon Smith has cut promos calling, saying stuff about Wayno.
Well, he doesn't need to after what he did to Wayno and leveling him. He's living rent free in Insano Wayno's head.
And that's a nice way to put it. And like I said, I'm not trying to sit here and say that I think, that I'm expecting Wayno to lose. But I think my thing is, and from a fan's perspective, he cannot allow Mr. Man or Brandon Smith's influence affect his mindset going into this match.
And they're both going to be in the building, this Saturday. So is he going to be able to separate his issues with them and his match with Black Rose? Or is it going to, I don't even have to ask if it's going to spill over. It's going to spill over. Mr. Man's going to make an appearance.
Mm-hmm. Something's going to happen. But like I said, so let me ask you this then. If you were a betting man, who do you see walking out of this match?
Oh, Black Rose. 100% Black Rose. I bet the farm on Black Rose, much like I would have on Wrecking Ball Legursky.
Well, let's keep things moving here because now we're actually going to be talking about your former partner, Miss DeVille.
Yes.
The Diamonds division.
And the 6 women challenge, I believe.
Something. I have no idea. Hopefully when I have Miss DeVille on the show at a later, I think tomorrow, but when this comes out, who knows? Hopefully I can find out. I think realistically with this match, is Taylor going to continue to cause a rough shot? That's my big thing.
She is going to continue to try to run roughshod over the women's division, but it didn't turn out too well for the previous time she's tried. So I guess at the end of the day, a broken clock is right twice a day. Exactly. This might be the time that she can come away with the win, but she's the least experienced competitor in that match, and it's going to be a great learning experience for her. But it might be another humbling experience for her too if she can't get over that hump in the dynasty that she seems to be behind.
And also, if she continues, because we talked about this when we opened up the interview, she definitely has become a thorn in the side to Miss DeVille. That's the best way I can put it.
That's the nicest way to put it.
Again, I don't know if this could even happen, and I'm just speculating here, but could this be the start of a possible in-ring return for Miss DeVille?
I wouldn't write it off at the end of the day. Does anyone ever truly retire from the ring?
I was going to say,
no. You always get that itch to come back time and time again. Then I know in my many hour car rides with Kristen, I know that there's some unfinished business she has in pro wrestling. And, Taylor may be the one person to, push the killer queen enough to find out why she is the most experienced, most decorated besides Christina Marie, woman from the Capital Region.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I could see a possible scenario. And I'm not saying this for like the June show, but maybe towards the fall, or maybe even next year. And again, I don't see it being a full in-ring return for her because I think, and the way I'm about to say this is not meant to be mean towards Miss DeVille. She's not young.
No.
And when you've been out of, and yes, I know she's been out of wrestling for a while because of, injuries and stuff like that. Ring rust comes into play.
But, ring rust may not be a thing. It all depends on who you talk to. There's a good chunk of MMA fighters that say that ring rust isn't real. So Kristen may not suffer from ring rust. It may be just like riding a bike. She gets in the ring and it's all muscle memory from the last, 15 years of wrestling since she was 18 years old.
Yeah, and by the way, apparently this pen explosion, I don't know how well you can see it.
You are going full Oompa, 100% Loompa.
Holy crap. Okay.
Throw the pen away.
Kids, if you're watching this, don't play with a pen. Just
for shame.
But no, I think this is going to be definitely, and like I said, we don't know as of this recording, we don't know what the match is going to be.
It could be a gauntlet. It could be a 6-way challenge, scramble. It could be anything. We don't know.
It's going to be very talented to see. And also, I could be wrong on this, but Rita Chatteron, I think, is going to also be in the building.
She has been at the last several Dynasty shows, so I would not be surprised if she was there.
So if she is there, I could see her somehow, not saying interfering in a bad way, but she might have some sort of role in this match too.
She had a role in the last match, putting Taylor one shot in her place, so wouldn't be surprised. Also wouldn't be surprised if Taylor took a shot at Rita too.
You also don't want to put somebody off like Rita, who has been at the highest of highs. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
That's a great way I can put it. But I want to keep things moving here.
She's the original.
Exactly. Now, the next match I have here is a match that I'm personally looking forward to the most because from a storytelling perspective, because I also had the chance to interview both of these competitors. And this one is Punk taking on Sergeant Fury. Now, have you had a chance to go back and watch the interview I did with Fury?
I have not. Not at the time of recording.
First of all, I highly recommend to go watch it because I bring up the losing streak to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets emotional. I'm not saying this to put him down, but you can hear it in his voice that he is tired of essentially having his own monkey on his back. And the monkey on his back is not a wrestler, it's an invisible thing losing.
This is the Daniel Roberts Sergeant Fury retirement tour. And he said this is his last year of wrestling and he wants to have, matches with people that, he has respect for, that he hasn't worked with before. So, I can definitely understand that he's going to be emotional for many reasons. One of which is, his time in the ring is definitely coming to an end. And you don't want to, he's going to go out on his bat. But you want your hand raised every time you're in there. So no, absolutely, completely understand the emotion that he's going through. His match with Conway was absolutely fantastic. I'm sure this match with Punk, he's going to leave it all in the ring. You don't leave a firefight with bullets left in the chamber, and he's not going to leave any bullets left in the chamber. He's going to unload every time he goes out there.
No, and the thing with him, because when I brought up Punk to him, he claims that Punk was protected in World of Hurt.
So I will be 100% honest. I am not familiar with Punk at all. I can't tell you anything he's done. I can't tell you anything about him. So to me, that's kind of exciting because I'm going in with no expectations on Punk.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to him before the show. I'm going to find out some details from him, and then I'm going to call the match without any bias towards him one way or the other.
And I get that. And when I brought up Fury to Punk, let me put it this way: definitely go back and watch both of the interviews.
Okay.
They were both very raw, very emotional, especially with the Punk interview. I'll put it this way: Fox Vineyard's name came up quite a bit towards the end.
Yeah, I'm sure Fox is thrilled that his name came up.
Of course he was. But how do you see this match playing out?
It's gonna be. It's not going to be a pretty catch as catch can or high flying match. It's going to be a fight. And again, I know Fury's going to go out there and leave it all in the ring. And from what I'm understanding now, there's some animosity between him and Punk. And this is, well, at least since the return of the Dynasty, Punk's first appearance here. So he's going to prove himself to a brand new crop of fans. So both men have something to prove. Punk needs to prove he needs to be here, and Sergeant Fury needs to prove he still belongs here on his way out. You know, he's not going to be a gatekeeper. No. He's going to shut the door hard behind him. And who knows, with the Dynasty Championship coming, Sergeant Fury's been the heart of the Dynasty for a while. It would be good to see that belt on him on his last run.
You know, exactly. And I think the thing also, because you mentioned before with the Dynasty World Championship. Fury's name is a name that I have heard quite a bit of fans wanting to hold that belt. And here, there's one issue, and I'm not an issue in a bad way, but hopefully you'll get this analogy. You're a sports fan like me, so hopefully you'll get this analogy. If you have a team that gets no wins, they don't get it. You're not going to hand them a trophy and say, "Here, here's a trophy for no wins."
Right. You don't get a participation trophy, no. But he does have that huge win over High Voltage Omar in the Big Jim Memorial match.
Yes, and that was the match back at the October show. But the problem is, the one thing with independent wrestling, this is not meant to be a shot. A lot of times people don't remember what happened at the last show when they get to the next show.
Right.
And you look at that one, you're talking about a show that happened back in October. And as of this recorded, we're almost at the end of April already.
But you're also looking at it in terms of months. There was a match back in October, and then we had February, and now we have April.
Yeah, well, actually, wasn't there also the December show?
And yes, of course, the December show. So I've drank a lot since the October show. Let me restutterate that. So we're only talking about 3 events removed from the October show. So 1 and 3, not a great record, but you know what? All it takes is 3 seconds as a football fan, any given Sunday. There's some former champions. We can go back to building we talked about before, the ECW arena, and one Mikey Whipwreck, who beat no one until he ended up slipping out of banana peel, winning that ECW title, and then making a run with it. Every streak starts with 1. So if he can get a win over Punk, that might be all the momentum he needs in order to push for the Dynasty title when it returns.
And I agree, and that's why to me I think this match is a must win for Fury.
It is getting do or die time. We all know that, especially with his career coming to an end.
Because not only that, if the losses continue to pile up, and this may come out mean how I'm about to say this, but it's no other way I can put this. And I mean no disrespect to Fury or to any of the wrestlers. I hope I know. Hopefully you guys will get this. If the losses continue to pile up, Is Dynasty management going to want to give him opportunities of that level of opponents if the losses continue to pile up?
You know, as a sports fan, as we've established, in old school boxing, in the 80s and 70s, every now and then you had to throw someone a can. You had to throw them someone who they knew that they could beat in order to keep that confidence up, to make the fans believe again. So you know what? There's maybe a couple of cans floating around in the Dynasty locker room or on speed dial that can be brought in to build up Sergeant Fury's momentum and confidence if that ends up being an issue. But I don't think he wants a can, and I think that he can definitely prove that he deserves to be here and prove that he deserves to have that championship. And it's really what the fans want. If you're listening to the fans and you're hearing the fans chanting for Fury and wanting Fury to have a shot at that title, management has to listen, or they're not going to sell tickets.
That's probably the best way to look at it. Again, I would love to turn around when I'm live again next Tuesday. Next Tuesday following the show, I want to be the first one to sit there and eat crow. I'll be the first one to sit there and admit I was wrong.
So you're putting your money on Punk this weekend?
No, I'm going to put my money on Fury, and I say that for this reason: when I had Fury on, or Daniel, however you want to call him, I saw a man who was at his wit's end, who had his back against the wall, who pretty much put it out there that it's going to take a lot to bring him down. And I know for me personally, when I'm put in that position, the adrenaline starts to kick in and you become a different person. And I think the Sergeant Fury that we see this Saturday at the Dome is not going to be the same Sergeant Fury that we saw at the February show when he took on Fox, or at the October show when he took on HBO. I think it's going to be a totally different Sergeant Fury that we see at this show on Saturday.
Buy tickets, show up.
You never know. Who do you have? Okay, I'm going to ask you now. Who do you have?
I'm going to go with Fury as well. I think that Fury has all the motivation in the world to go out on top. So,
Exactly.
so I think that his brief losing streak comes to an end.
No, I can definitely see that. I want to keep things moving here because we do have two more matches to look at, and one of them is featuring a guy who we spoke a lot about in the match with Wayno, and that's Brandon Smith with Mr. Man taking on the debuting Jeff Nova, or as the post said, Jeffrey Nova.
Oh, well, he's probably hit puberty now, so he's going by Jeffrey, so we take him serious now.
Now, my thing, actually, I'll ask you this one now. How do you see this match playing
out? I see, much like Brother Jonas and Wrecking Ball Legursky, I see an upset. I think that Jeff Nova comes away with the win because Wayno is going to be in the building. Wayno is too focused on Mr. Man and Brandon Smith. So just as I think Mr. Man's going to have something to do with the Black Rose Wayno match, I think Wayno's going to come out and try and get a little bit of revenge. And I think Jeff Nova will be able to take advantage of it.
Hey, I'm hoping. I've said this a couple of times. No, Jeff Nova is 100 pounds soaking wet.
At least. But he's like 14, I think. I think he has a fake ID that says he's 18 in New York State.
I was say he doesn't have. Oh, what bench was it? The Benchwarmers movie from back in the day with the pitcher who you can see clearly was like in his 30s, and
yep.
And on the piece of paper it said, "I am 12."
Yep.
Is that what it has? I can see Nova walking and going, "Here's my license. Here's my thing." It just says,
"Looks good to me."
Here's my only thing with this match. I think this becomes the typical David Goliath-esque type of match.
Absolutely.
Because Brandon Smith is a big guy.
He's a hoss.
Yeah. And like I said, Jeff Nova soaking wet is 100 pounds.
Right.
but that can almost be an advantage because this match has a weird dynamic because the the David and Goliath part favors Brandon Smith. The speed part is what's going to favor Jeff Nova.
Oh, by a country mile. And
so that's
you know,
it's going to get
and
interesting.
I bust Jeff's balls, but Jeff is definitely come a long way from the first time that I've met him. He's definitely getting out there. He's wrestling for a lot more companies. He's getting a lot more experience. And that experience, I think, is going to definitely pay off for him. Jeff Nova, there are zero amount of time, 0% chance that Jeff Nova will ever be the heavyweight in the match. Jeff Nova will always be the underdog. He'll always be the smaller competitor. He'll always take on someone who has at least 100 pounds on him, bare frickin' minimum. So with all of his traveling and all of his ring work, this is nothing new to him. So this is something that he'll definitely be able to adjust to and handle to. And, you know, again, Wayno's in the building and Wayno has a grudge.
And also, I could see this playing out that if Jeff gets the win here, I'm not saying he's going to go for the world heavyweight title, but if Dynasty ever does decide to have a secondary title, almost like an IC title, like a workhorse title, I think would probably be the better way to put it. You can definitely put Nova in the category there if he's able to get the win here on Saturday.
No, definitely. He'll definitely make a statement. He'll definitely get a lot more eyes on him, especially here in the Dynasty. And again, this is his debut, much like Punk. He has a lot to prove to these Dynasty fans that have never seen him before, that have hearing about him for the first time. And he can make himself on Saturday night. Or he may get his head taken off his shoulders, get camel clutched, made humble and discarded, and we never see him again if Brandon Smith has his way.
Exactly. And like I said, this is a big step, a big thing for him. But last match we got here is what is being touted as the main event. And
on paper, the main event. This is a Dynasty show. I don't know what's going to happen. Last time we had a new main event that was announced after the first match. So, like you said, this is what's touted as the main event, but who knows who's going to show up?
Guys, we say that for this reason. We're saying this as of now, but the show is still 48 hours away. So who knows if Chris, in his crazy mad scientist ways, decides to book another main event?
Who might just show up?
You never know. I mean, there could be a possibility. It could be, you could see me getting thrown into the ring. I doubt
that'd be fantastic.
I know. Everyone would love that.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to see you bounce around like an Oompa Loompa basketball.
Well, I mean, gee, I don't know.
You're halfway there. You're beginning your transformation.
But the match I'm talking about is Fox Vineyard taking on Conan. And we just had Fox on, and guys, definitely go check out that interview. And I noticed it with Fox. He's very, very confident about himself.
Yes. Fox is wrestling 2 blocks away from his house. You want to talk about home field advantage? Fox may be an a-hole, but that building is going to be 100% pro Fox because it's in Fox's backyard. His dad's going to be there. His neighbors are going to be there. People that know him from around town are going to be there. So if we go to Albany or Schenectady or anywhere else and they're booing Fox, it's what's expected. Here, it's going to be like Bizarro World where Fox is going to be the favorite, the crowd favorite.
Well, here's how I compare it, though. It would almost be like when AEW first went to Long Island with MJF. And I'm talking MJF not when he became the cool heel, when he was the real heel. And, he would be, they'd be in Sheboygan, they'd be in Chicago, New York. He would get booed out of the building.
Yep.
He gets to Long Island. All of a sudden, he's getting cheered like he's a freaking babyface, white meat babyface to the nth degree.
Because you're a hometown hero, regardless of what you do around the world.
But let me ask you this, though, could that almost be a disadvantage to him? And I say that for this reason. Does Fox have what it takes? That I get the fact he's gonna have that moment in the sun because he essentially is the rock star, so to speak, to put it bluntly. But does he have the ability to kind of take himself out of that fan perspective for a second and be like, look, I'm in the main event of this show. I'm taking on a guy who is no small person, to say the least.
No.
Conan, from what I've seen in pictures, he's a big dude.
But so this is your first experience with Conan Lycan.
Yes.
Conan Lycan is a stud. He is a blue chipper through and through. Trained by one Seth Rollins at the Black and the Bold, and he's been making a name for himself again all throughout, the Midwest and the Chicago area. This isn't the first time these two have met. I was there personally to oversee that before, and right now Conan has a pinfall victory over Fox. So Fox is probably coming into this with a chip on his shoulder, looking to even up that score between the two of them. Like you said, he's a rock star. This is his hometown. It feeds into Fox's ego. Fox is all ego, and the more people that chant his name or the more people that boo him, it's going to fuel him one way or the other. He is going to be in heaven.
Wait, hold on. You mean to tell me that Fox is all ego? I could never have a match.
Yeah. You would never think about that. Have you ever talked to the guy?
I did. We just had him on. I think he's still talking.
He's the most humble human being I have ever met. Mm-hmm. Also, I have some swampland in Arizona I'd like to sell to you. We can talk about that after this interview.
I have a bridge to sell to you from Brooklyn if you would like.
Oh, that sounds like a good deal.
But in all seriousness, though, I think with this match, we're talking about this with Fury, but I think you can also put Fox into this equation as well. If he gets the win here on Saturday, I think he's another guy who you can definitely put into the contention. And can you just imagine how much bigger of an ego he's going to have if he is crowned the inaugural champion?
I think even if he loses, you still have to put his name in the bucket for having a shot at that Dynasty title. He's drawing people, good or bad or otherwise. He's bringing people in. He's bringing fans in. They either want to see him get his head taken off or want to see him come away as the champion. And I know for a fact that there is nothing more that Fox would want than to win that Dynasty title in his hometown.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Like I said, my whole thing is, can he, step out of the, well, everybody's here rooting for me, and step into the, I have a match against somebody who can probably twist me into a pretzel if he wanted to.
So Conan is from Albany. So he's going to have his own contingent of fans there. And like I said, he's been doing a lot of work and winning championships all throughout the Chicagoland area. So he's going to have family and friends there that haven't ever seen him wrestle before or haven't seen him wrestle in years. Oof. So this is going to be a split arena. I'm going to say it's going to be mostly a pro Fox crowd, but there's definitely going to be a Conan Lycan contingent that is going to be thrilled to see him and that are going to be pretty ravenous for him. And now the only bad thing I have to say about Conan Lycan is he's a Baltimore Ravens fan, and that's his only strike against him. That's a big strike. But other than that, blue chip, absolute stud that you will definitely be seeing on AEW again, I'm sure, in the near future. And if not, making longer trips to Orlando.
Yeah, I can definitely say, like I said, I'm looking forward. That's one thing I like with going to these Dynasty shows is, yes, I'm starting to know a lot of the guys now, but then you get like these certain guys that I'm like, you don't know who that is, or I don't know who this guy is. And I'll be the first one to sit there and I look at it. Yeah, I am going as the podcast. I'll be the first one to say it. But I'm also going as a student because I'm still learning about these guys.
Yeah, Conan is impressive for a man his size, the agility he's been blessed with. worth the price of admission alone. Him and Fox are definitely gonna have a certified banger, as I've already put it twice today.
All right, now that we've gone over the whole card, is there one match in particular that you are looking forward to?
Fox and Conan. I know that there was some animosity the last time they were in the ring together, and now this is a one-on-one between the two of them. So it'll be good to see how they've evolved, as that was pre-pandemic. So wow, at least 4 years ago
Oof.
was their first meeting in a ring together. So this will be an interesting to see where they've come in their careers and their conditioning and their training from that point to now.
No, exactly. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be very telling come Saturday night. And as far as who I have winning, I hate to say this, but I think there's a no-brainer. It's got to be Fox.
If it wasn't 2 blocks away from Fox's house, I think I would have put my money on Conan. And I still may put my money on Conan. Fox is making a big name for himself throughout the Northeast, but Conan is evolving his game from what I've seen.
But my whole thing is going to be, I can imagine, win or lose, what reaction we're going to get from Fox in the weeks coming out of this show on Saturday.
Win or lose, it's not going to matter. Fox is going to be Fox.
Oh no, and he'll still talk and he'll still run his mouth, and I'll have people who are going, or there's gonna be people who are looking and go, Fox, shut up.
Right. It's like, if you here, I'm going to let you in on the secret. If you want to have a good conversation with Fox, we'll just talk about X-Men 97. That's all you need to do.
And then just basically say X-Men 97, and then just
and then just have a X-Men 97 conversation for like 2 hours, and it'll be fine.
I'm going to try to get into that because I have not seen that yet.
Oh, well, that is your fault, and don't blame anyone else but yourself.
Well, apparently I was too busy playing with a pen.
You're too busy perfecting your Mystique cosplay for Comic-Con in October.
Yeah, I was a little confused. But yes, you will be on the call as well this Saturday.
Yes, I will.
With various guests.
With whoever sits down next to me, I will have a wrestling conversation with.
And like I said, there could be a possibility. I mean, it was already brought up tonight to the promoter, but there could be a possibility I might find my way to the commentators table.
That'd be fantastic. I would love to call a match with you, as long as you take a shower between now and then and you get that crap cleaned off you.
Oh, that's why do you think I'm gonna go Google, how to get pen mark off of you quickly.
Like, use Dawn dish soap.
I'm going to use like Dawn, or I'll just take like a sander and just sand off that layer of.
Yeah, you've got more layers of skin there, right? You'll be fine.
I'll be okay. But like I said, I'm looking forward. Oh, also, just to make another mention, there will be another kickoff podcast this coming Saturday, done by a little podcast called the Around the Ropes Podcast.
I think I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Is that right there, right underneath?
Yeah, I hear the host sort of knows what he's doing.
I've been on worse. I can't let you get a fox-like ego on here.
I'll just say this much: I hear the host knows what he's doing when he's not playing with a pen.
There's always got to be a caveat to everything.
But no, I will be up there. I will be doing a podcast before the show, kind of getting everybody going. And possibly doing some bits during the show itself on the podcast. I got to see how the lighting is in there, because if it's like it was an Empire Live, then it wouldn't make sense for me to go live.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know how it's going to be. It's been a year since I've been there, and I know they've done some reworks to the Water Villette Dome, so we will see.
It's definitely going to be fun. But guys, again, if you want to buy your ticket, and I've said this in the other 9,000 interviews I've done this week.
Do it.
What are you waiting for? Go to www.purplepass.com/the letter B, the number 4, Impact. That's letter B, the number 4, Impact. And they can use code
Patches. Patches, just like it says right there.
Right there. Definitely use code Patches. And
And,
guys, like
and you know what? Even if you can't make it to the show, buy a ticket anyhow. You're supporting indie pro wrestling, and that money will go way further for Chris Envy and the Dynasty than it will for Tony Khan or Endeavor. So some companies appreciate every ticket sale. Others, you're just a number. Even if it's not the Dynasty and you can't make it to a wrestling show, support a local company. Buy a ticket for them.
Yeah. And also it can help further me get in this stuff off my head.
Right. And then we can pass a hat around and get some lava soap for you to get your hands clean. We're not shaking hands this Saturday. No offense or anything.
I'll make sure my hands are clean beforehand.
That I didn't say I cared if your hands were clean. I said we're not shaking hands.
I got it. No, I get it. Trust me. I don't want to shake hands with me either, and I'm me.
I know where those hands have been.
Moving on. But like I said, I'm looking forward to the show. This could be a fantastic show this weekend. And of course, you guys know you can get all of the Dynasty coverage right here on the Around the Ropes podcast. Not only do I cover the events, but also I talk to, as you've seen this entire week, I talk to every single person from the company. So, you know, you can get your
fine gentlemen and ladies.
Exactly. I look this way: as long as I can talk to them, anybody from the Dynasty is more than welcome to come on the show.
You'll have Fox on every day. What are you doing? You got to put a cap on there.
No, I've learned with Fox already that becomes more of I just say one thing and just let him. And you'll see it when you see it in the interview. Yeah, he likes to talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But like I said, I've been having such a freaking blast doing these interviews, and they're not done yet, folks. You think the 4 that I've done tonight is enough? Oh no. I got some more coming up. We might be only 48 hours away from Brace for Impact happening this Saturday live up in Waterville, New York at the Waterville. Is it Waterville or Waterville?
I don't know. Whatever you say.
Waterville Dome.
Seth Turner will tell you if you're wrong, but who cares?
Yeah, definitely get your tickets. And guys, like I said, I have a few more interviews lined up. Despite the fact we are only 48 hours away from the show, I still have some stuff to come up before we get to that show.
And you need to get some sleep eventually, but you have 48 hours, so.
What's sleep?
Sleep when you're dead.
Exactly. But Johnny, I always love having you on the show.
Yes, you too, my friend. It was great talking to you, and it'll be great seeing you and not shaking your hand on Saturday.
How about this? I'll make sure I wear a glove. How about that?
Perfect. Only one. And if you don't have on a red leather jacket like you're an extra in a Michael Jackson video, I'm going to be real disappointed.
But Johnny, again, where can the fans connect with you on social media?
Don't just follow the Dynasty, or just follow me, Jonny Patches. I'm not hard to find. Jonny Patches on everything, on Facebook, on Instagram, on PlayStation Network. Don't friend me. Jonny Patches, period. I'm not hiding from anybody.
Except apparently me shaking your hand.
Well, no, I'm not going to hide from you. I'm just not shaking your hand.
But guys, for Jonny Patches, I am John. This has been a YouTube exclusive for the Around the Ropes podcast. Dynasty Week continues with Miss Kristen DeVille coming up. So you're not going to want to miss that. But again, for Johnny, I'm John. It's been Around the Ropes YouTube exclusive. We'll catch you guys next time right here on the Around the Ropes podcast.